Why do you think I'm putting frosting on the cake board? What is that gonna do? Right, it'll make it stick. It's gonna act as my glue, okay? Because the frosting with my cold cake right here, I press it in like that, and after like 2 seconds, that cold cake's gonna stiffen that frosting, and now it's not gonna go anywhere, right? I mean, you're not gonna shake your cakes like this, but now you know it's really not gonna go anywhere, okay? Now I can go and apply the frosting, okay? We want it to be a nice thin coat, okay? It's not gonna be too thick. I know a lot of the times we think more is better, but in this case it's not, okay? If your frosting layers, your filling layers are too thick, your frosting and filling are really pliable, right? They're really soft, and they're really malleable. So when I go to put another layer of cake on here, then another layer of frosting, and then outside frosting, and then outside decorations and things like that, that's weight, right? If I have frosting that's this thick, you know, and this frosting is this soft, when I go to put pressure on it, it's just gonna push out, right? Have you ever seen cakes that have like bulges coming out the sides and things like that? That's what that is. It was either air trapped in there or too much frosting on the inside that's getting pushed out the sides. Okay, so that's what we don't wanna happen. That's why we wanna put more layers instead of thicker layers, okay? Now, then we put my other layer on there, and then repeat with the same frosting. If you are doing filling, you will just get a piping bag of frosting and do a ring on the outside, and then do the filling on the inside of that, okay? Just to help keep that filling from coming out, because it's a lot more liquidy and a lot more runny than the frosting would be, and you don't want it to run out the sides and get into your frosting. But we just spread it, nice thin layer. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be on there, right? See, nice and thin. It should be thinner than your cake layer for sure, okay? Then we take our top, our last layer, and we're gonna invert it. What does that mean? Flip it, okay? Flip it upside down, okay? That's gonna give us the flattest top, okay? Because cakes bake kind of don't, right? They just do. You can't really control that top layer. But the bottom of the cake pan is nice and flat. So that's nice and flat. So now our top is nice and flat, okay? Just give it a little push to make sure it's nice and in there. And that's the assembly of it, okay? Now, when we go to frost it, okay, what we're gonna do is make sure we use the proper tools. So each of your tools are made with a purpose. The offset spatula is made to apply frosting horizontally on the top. The straight handle spatula is made to apply frosting vertically to the sides. See that? How it works like that? So that's how they're made. And then the scrape is what will smooth it. Could you smooth it with these? Technically. Is it gonna be more difficult? Yes. So you wanna use this, and I'm gonna show you how. Now first, we'll apply frosting to the top, just like we did on the inside. Same amounts, same surface area as the insides, okay, you don't get too crazy. Then when you hold your offset spatula, you're gonna hold in your dominant hand, the nice firm grip, and your pointy finger as your guide, like so, okay? And then in a back and forth motion, just spread that frosting out to the edges of the cake, using your other hand to turn the turntable, okay? Just like so. And it's not gonna be pretty, it's not gonna be smooth, we're just spreading the cake layers out to the edges of the cake, okay? Then we move on to the other tool, the flat handle spatula, okay? Now, from here, I'm gonna take it also, nice firm grip, okay, pointy finger as my guide, and you're gonna use a nice firm grip. Now what you're gonna do is take it in your dominant hand and cross over to your non-dominant side. It's gonna look a little weird at first, but I promise it'll work best. So you take it in your dominant hand, you cross over to your non-dominant side with the frosting on it, and that's where you apply the frosting, okay? Reason for that is that if you try to apply frosting on the same side, your range of motion is very limited, right? Your arm is like, you know, doesn't have much space to go. Same if you try and frost in front of you. Like your arm can only move so much and you're very limited to range of motion. If you try and frost out here, you can't really see what you're doing. So that leaves the most ideal position is to cross over and apply frosting to your non-dominant side. You have largest range of motion, the most control, okay? So for example, put some frosting on my spatula. Can you make sure you don't put like too much to where when you go to like bring it over, it falls off, okay? You don't want that to happen.